Yo, America, Planet Earth, what's good? This is your boy Codell. Welcome back to another episode of Father's Gospel Podcast. Today, we're talking about Lindsay Clancy, the Lindsay Clancy trial. If you don't know who Lindsay Clancy is, this case is absolutely crazy. So this mom strangled her 3 children to death. The dad found the children. This was about 3 years ago. We're getting near the end of the trial, and just everything that's come from this trial from a cultural standpoint is absolutely nuts. So that's what we're going to talk about. But anyways, I got this article we're going to read through, and then I'm going to kind of give you my feedback and my opinions on what I think is going on. Also, we are going to check out the GoFundMe page for Lindsay Clancy's parents. We're going to go through the comment section and so you guys can really kind of understand how much of a cultural impact this is having. It's absolutely crazy. This case is crazy. So anyways, you guys, Lindsay Clancy trial, everything that happened this week in court, outcome of trial of a Massachusetts mother accused of killing her 3 children may come down to witness testimony. So basically what it's coming down to in this case is they're arguing whether she killed her children out of insanity or she knew exactly what she was doing. So that's what's really amplifying this case. So the trial of Lindsay Clancy, the Massachusetts mother accused of killing her 3 children in January 2023, will likely head to the jury next week to decide if she is guilty of murder or was suffering from postpartum psychosis and should not be held criminally responsible. The outcome may come down to expert witness testimony, and there have been many, but the trial will be remembered for the spotlight it put on the maternal health care in the United States. Defense lawyer Kevin Rennington has said that in addition to postpartum psychosis, Clancy also had bipolar disorder and was over medicated. On Wednesday and Thursday, jurors were sent home early. Judge William Sullivan described the first as an unforeseen circumstance and directed the jury not to speculate about what it is. You're not to hold it against either side. It's just something that we have to deal with. Thursday's abbreviated session came after a hospital chaplain, Sheila Kavanaugh, who met with Clancy after the deaths of the children and her alleged suicide attempt, testified that Clancy recalled to her a voice that allegedly told her to kill her children. Clancy told her, "I am so glad my children are safe." Kavanaugh said in the days after the murders, while Clancy was still receiving emergency care treatment at Birmingham and Women's Hospital, her emotional state was very neutral, a flat effect. She said that Clancy mentioned hearing a male voice multiple times. The voice, according to Lindsay, told her that if she did not follow the command, neither she nor her children would be safe. Kavanaugh said she alluded to the fact that it was a male voice and it was persistent. Kavanaugh said that she replied theologically to Clancy, saying, "Lindsay, your children are safe. They're safe in heaven with God." Defense witness Paul Ziesel, a forensic psychologist who met with Clancy dozens of times and reviewed her medical records, offered powerful testimony this week and echoed Kavanaugh's claims. Ziesel recalled that Clancy had said during a telephone call with her former husband, Patrick Clancy, that she heard a male voice ordering her, telling her that she didn't have any choice, but she had to kill her children and then kill herself. How crazy is that, right? Elsewhere in his testimony, Ziesel noted that Clancy had been unable to conform her behavior to the rule of law. She had no appreciation for the wrongfulness of her act. He said that psychological testing administered by a government doctor found no evidence she was manufacturing or exaggerating psychiatric symptoms. The defense's final witness was Dr. Philip Resnick, a forensic psychiatrist with expertise in postpartum disorders who had consulted on the case of Andre Yates, a Texas mother who drowned her 5 children and was later found not guilty by reason of insanity. I remember that case. Who said he believed Clancy was frankly psychotic on the day she killed her children. He said Clancy was in a postpartum psychosis After her third child was born on the day of the killings, he said Clancy was hearing not only command hallucinations, but felt what's known as a delusion of influence and that an external force had taken over her body. She needed help. The defense rested their case after Resnick's testimony on Friday, and the trial moved into the rebuttal phase. Prosecutors pushed back on offense claims that Clancy was suffering from postpartum mental illness that caused her to break from reality. They contend Clancy acted deliberately and rationally when they took the lives of her children, Cora, 5, Dawson, 3, and Callan, 8 months. Man, wow, 8 months, dude. I mean, all those are young, but wow. After sending her husband out on errands, prosecutors recalled psychiatrist Dr. Avram Mack to the stand. Mack said the medical standard for assessing if someone can be held criminally responsible for their actions under Massachusetts law, they would have to know their actions were wrong. The burden of proof is on prosecutors to show that Clancy did not suffer from mental disease or defect at the time of the alleged offense, or that even if she did, she retained the substantial capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness or criminality of her conduct and to conform her conduct to the requirements of the law. So I find this fascinating that the burden of proof is on the prosecutors to prove that, she didn't do it strictly out of mental illness. Either way, I don't see how anything I've read through this is showing or proving in any way that she didn't know what she was doing was wrong. I mean, hey, leave a comment. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Let me know what you think. Let's get on. It says Mack said Clancy suffered from a major depressive episode in 2022 and 2023, and that he had reached that conclusion based on Clancy's description of her feelings and the progression of her illness. Generally, she was friendly and cooperative, Mack said of his meetings with Clancy after the killings. There were not many abnormalities in her presentation. He said that at some point she seemed distressed and had told him she was miserable. During cross-examination, Reddington's line of questioning with Mack became contentious. Reddington criticized Mack for educating himself about Clancy's background only through Clancy herself while she was medicated in a psychiatric hospital, and notably without interviewing other people from her life. Yeah, that's really interesting because, I mean, obviously, like, I'm not a doctor, a psychiatric doctor, but I would think as a doctor dealing with issues like this, you would want to interview family members and friends who have dealt with her on a regular basis, to get some outside feedback. But anyways, so asked about Clancy's condition in the aftermath of the birth of Callahan, Mack testified that Clancy had been anxious about returning to work and having a nanny. There was some degree of wanting to be able to handle the children on her own, Mack said. She felt very positively about her ability to take care of the children, but also some ambivalent. Ambivalence. Ambivalence. I know I'm not saying that, you guys. Go ahead and make fun of me. I deserve it. About other people being able to take care of the children. I want to say it so bad, but I feel like I'm going to butcher it again. Anyways, given the widespread interest in the trial online and beyond, the subject matter has ignited a movement for those invested in maternal and postpartum healthcare in the U.S. earlier in the week. On Thursday, hundreds of women gathered outside the courthouse in support of Clancy, with many donning pink clothing with statements such as, "She needed help. Women are being dismissed, neglected, and ignored when we speak." April Vincent, who was in attendance, said, "We're scared because nobody takes us seriously." Possible outcomes. If jurors acquit Clancy of murder by reason of insanity, she will not go free, but would be sent to a state psychiatric hospital, come up for periodic review for release. If jurors find for the prosecution, she'll be sentenced to life without parole. Closing arguments are slated to begin next week. Still, Clancy's legal battles will not end with the verdict for this trial. A civil case brought by Clancy and her former husband is pending against several mental health care providers, including 2 mental health workers who saw Clancy before the before the killings and testified at the trial at this dangerous time. So yeah, you guys, that's the article. What do you guys think, man? So here's my honest opinion on, whether she did it out of mental illness or not. It doesn't change the crime. Regardless, if you put her in a mental institution or prison, she should never be allowed to be released because she murdered her 3 children. They're not even arguing that she didn't kill her 3 children. They're not even arguing that. They're arguing that she did it because she was insane. And I'm sorry, but whether you are insane or not, and in my humble opinion, if you kill someone in cold blood, especially your children, you're insane. You're insane and you're evil. But I don't care if you send her to a psych ward or a prison. This lady should never be let out. It's just that simple. That's my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. Put it in the comments section. Now, you guys, I want to share this real quick, okay? This is a GoFundMe that was set up for Nancy's parents, okay? Okay? So, technically, this isn't for Lindsay Clancy. I want to read through this, and then we're going to go through some of the article or some of the comments, all right? And the comments are going to blow your mind. I promise you that, okay? So the Musgrove Family Fund updated 8/15/26. In January 2023, Lindsay Clancy was accused of killing her 3 young children in their Duxbury, Massachusetts home. She is now on trial. The Musgrove Family Fund is for the 2 people who have remained at her side through every step of what followed. Her parents, Mike and Paula Musgrove. So that is who this fund is supposed to be for. But I beg to differ, right? For more than 3 years, Mike and Paula have shown up for Lindsay. They have attended her court proceedings and relocated from their Connecticut home to Massachusetts so they can be close to their daughter. Paula is retired. Mike is a photographer. They have spent years absorbing the travel, lodging, and living costs required to remain close to their daughter, drawing down, saving their savings they spent a lifetime building. So I get it. They've had to spend all this money on supporting their daughter. And I don't blame them supporting their daughter, even though she murdered her 3 kids. That's her daughter. Fine. I get it. So they have not walked away from their daughter, and they have never been unclear about why they love her. Nothing about this fund asks anyone to share their view of Lindsay or the criminal case. It asks donors to recognize the extraordinary financial burden her parents have carried simply by continuing to be present. So it says right here, nothing about this fund asks anyone to share this view of Lindsay or the criminal case. Oh my. Wait till we get to the comments section, okay? It gets insane. Contributions will help cover the accumulated costs of travel, lodging, living expenses, and other family expenses arising from their continued support of Lindsay throughout her case. Mike and Paula are the named beneficiaries and direct recipients of the fundraiser through GoFundMe. The fund was established with their knowledge and consent, and Lindsay's attorney, Kevin Reddington, is aware of it. The Musgroves will control the funds and determine how they are used for the purposes described above. The case will eventually reach its conclusion. Whatever the outcome is, Mike and Paula will still have to pick up the pieces of their lives they had to put on hold to be there for their daughter. They should not have to face this future without financial foundation they spent decades building. If they believe Mike and Paula deserve that support, please donate or share the Musgrove Family Fund. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, I guess technically I'm sharing it, but I will not be encouraging anyone to donate to this. But yeah, so that was interesting. Now, let's get into the comments. Supposedly, this is for the parents, right? Let's read these freaking comments, all right? Let's see. My thoughts and prayers for you and your family. Fine. Lindsay and family, you have so many people in your corner sending love and light. Lindsay Clancy, this is crazy. You are a movement, and so many stand behind you. By the way, I want you all to pay attention to names. So, Jenny S., Laura D., Heather Clark, that just said, Lindsay Clancy, you are a movement and so many stand behind you. Is a woman that murders her 3 children, is that a movement? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Louise Lynch, thinking and praying for you, Lindsay and family, from Ireland. I thought this was supposed to be for the parents, but so far everyone is focused on Lindsay. We're all rooting for you, Lindsay. We stand beside you during this difficult time and are here to offer our support, strength, and love. Dear Lord. Mary Rabaloud, you are not alone, Lindsay. I stand in peace and love with you and your family. You are in my prayers. Folks, this woman killed her freaking 3 kids. This is insane. I stand in peace with you, Lindsay, from Glasgow, Scotland. I love your parents' dedication. You are your dad's double. Let's hope not. Good luck. I was driving back to the Berkshires from Plymouth and heard it was almost $1 million. Yeah, look at this. They've raised over $1 million. $1,023,328. And they're going for $2 million to support a woman that strangled her children to death, okay? But look at the comment section and read through the GoFundMe yourself. It is not for the parents. It is for Lindsay. That is my opinion, and you cannot change it. Anyways, saying a prayer, the jury gets this right. Older nurse doing this for more than 40 years, standing for Lindsay. Prayers for her and Paula and Mike. God bless each of you saying a novena all week. Here's the thing, too, about her praying the jury gets this right, because I'm assuming she wants her to be found mentally insane. Here's the thing, though. If she's found mentally insane, then she gets to go to the cuckoo house, right? But then once she's in the cuckoo house, there's a possibility of her being released back into society. A woman that murdered her 3 children, that strangled her 3 children to death. And one of them was, 8 months old? The oldest was 5? This is insane. If she's going to go to the mental institution, she should be there her whole entire life. Or once she goes in and she heals, fine. You're healed. Now your ass gets to go to prison for the rest of your life. Why? Because it does not excuse you from murdering your children. And the dad, the husband, I'm not going to go into that right now, but wow. Wow to him, too. What the fuck is going on with you, dude? Anyways, I pray that our healthcare system listens more closely to women. These are more comments, especially when they're in crisis, and take their concerns seriously. Now, I will say this. Our healthcare system, yeah, it's a mess. It's a disaster, but it still doesn't excuse someone from murdering their children. No. Nope. We're adults. Adults don't get those excuses. All right. Diane Smiley, over the $1 million mark. Incredible with the heart. Wow. Okay. Marta Krajowska. Lindsay, we stand with you in Poland. Love. Dear Lord. We do not. I do not. And most people do not stand with you, Lindsay. You murdered your 3 children. Brittany Turner, Women United. We all stand for you, Lindsay. No, we do not. And no, all women do not stand with Lindsay. So anyways, you guys, it goes on and on. I mean, and look, I just got to say it. Over 95% of these comments are from women. And here's the thing. Ladies, this is for you incredible women out there. I mean, the actual good, loving, non-psychotic moms, the good women that just want a healthy society. We need your help to start holding these women accountable, because here's the thing. I know that you ladies don't engage in this behavior. I'm talking to the good women out there, the women that actually love their families, actually love men, actually love, being alive, just love life, We know you don't find this acceptable, but we have lived in a society where women are not held to the same standard that men are when it comes to accountability. Like, for example, look it up. I encourage you, please look this up, ladies. Good ladies, look this up. Okay, so I'm not lying to you, because I want your support. The disparity in sentencing for men and women when they commit the same crime is crazy. Women usually end up with half the time that men end up getting sentenced in court for the same crimes. Even stuff like sex, sexual abuse and murder, rape, all that crazy stuff. Females, when they commit acts of violence, they tend to get half the time that men get when they commit the same acts of violence. And so what I'm saying is, for far too long, we have coddled women and have not held them to the same standards that we've held men to. And whenever you do that, you're inevitably going to breed a large portion of women that are going to embrace this type of psychotic behavior, because there's no guardrails put in place to not only protect society from them, but protect them from themselves. And let me flip the script on that, okay? So you know that I'm not attacking women. This right now, this is me talking to all you incredible, kind-hearted, tender, amazing women out there, okay? We would get this same type of situation if we swung the pendulum and we started holding women to a higher standard and started making them more accountable for the same crimes men commit. So, like, let's say instead of women only serving half the time that men typically serve for the same crimes, let's say we reverse that. Men started only serving half the time that women serve for the same crimes. You would naturally see the same type of behavior manifesting for men. You would see men making comments like this. I mean, it'd be a little different because they're men, but it would be that same vibe, that same freaking evil vibe. And so what I'm trying to do, ladies, is I'm trying to sound an alarm right here and let you know that we really need incredible, kind-hearted, family-oriented women who love their family and love this country. We need you to keep rising up and start speaking out and start working with us so we can push back against this behavior. So I don't know, you guys, what do you think of this case? I mean, this case is pretty freaking crazy. Like I said, you're not going to convince me that this is not for Lindsay. And if you disagree with this, I don't know what to say, okay? I don't care if she did it because she's found to be mentally ill or she knew what she was doing. I don't care. Either way, to me, the punishment should be the same. She should never be let back out to society. Put her in a mental institution or put her in jail. Either one, she should never be released back into the public. This lady murdered her 3 children. She strangled them to death. Choked them to death. That is a cold-blooded, slow way to kill someone. Imagine what the children were freaking experiencing, the horror, the freaking, dude, the terror. Like, imagine being those little kids and watching your siblings get choked to death. I mean, for me, it's always the kids first, man. Whether it's pedophilia or child murder, I don't have sympathy for this type of stuff. I don't. So this lady needs to either be in a mental institution or in jail for the rest of her life. Anyone that does anything like this needs to be in jail or in a mental institution for the rest of their life. You choose which one you want to put them in, and then we'll put them in there. Anyways, you guys, that's what I got for you today. Let me know what y'all think, and make sure you hit that notification bell, subscribe, and, of course, leave those comments. I love you guys. God loves you way more. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Peace.